Watermelon massacre high. Watermelon massacre high. I wanted to tell a watermelon joke, but it might be a little bit too seedy. Welcome back to the channel, my dear friends. It's Alicia, but you can call me Spooks. I own a small business called Spooks and Spanks in beautiful Montreal where I make soap, and we're back today for another soap making video. But this time around, we're turning this watermelon into soap. Is that even possible? You betcha, and I'm here to prove it to you. So without further ado, let's get to making some soap. First thing that we want to do is to blend this watermelon to oblivion. We don't want any fibers to exist because we want it to saponify with the rest of our recipe. So I'm going to be doing that with my stick blender. You can also do it with a regular blender from your home if you'd like. And what I think does the trick as well is to put a bit of your oil mix in here so that you have a little bit more juice to blend. So let's go ahead and blend it up here first with my stick blender, and then I'll see what it looks like and I'll add some oil if I need it. When you make soap with a fruit or a vegetable, you want it to be absolutely pureed to the max. There are chunks in your final soap. That chunk might rot.
Finally, there's rot.
Suffice to say that we do not want rot in our soap bars. So I'll put a little bit of my oil mixture in this bucket to help blend this, and then we'll assess. Whenever you make soap with a fruit or a vegetable, due to the fact that fruits and veggies have sugars, and that sugars make your soap batter heat up, if you put too much of your fruit or vegetable, you might end up having a soap volcano or cracks on the top of your soap. The maximum that you should put in your soap is about ½ an ounce per pound of soap, and we have about 4 ounces in here for an 8-pound batch. So we're gonna be all right, I believe. We'll see what it looks like at the end. I think we blended it enough. And then we can add the rest of the oils, add the lye solution, and then we'll split it up into colors and start pouring. How exciting! This is our oils blended with our watermelon. How strange. I never would have guessed that watermelon would have turned orange with my oils. There we go, our lye solution is in. Because we have multiple colors, I'll blend this batch as light as possible so that we have more time to work with it. And we go. There it is. It is just past emulsion. Let's take this away, bring some buckets in for the color. I have 2 buckets, lighter green, and 1 bucket for my darker green. This is for my paler green, and this will be for our darker green with a little bit of charcoal. I'm gonna mix this up just a little bit to see what it looks like. I just want a small rind in our watermelon design. The rest is going to be watermelon, literal watermelon. We like watermelon more than we like rind in here.
It's watermelon inside a watermelon.
I'm liking the contrast between these 2 colors. I know that this one looks even darker because it's in a blue bucket. Let's do this thing. So as to mimic a rind, we want to do a few little thin lines. Proceeds to make gigantic lines. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm pouring all over the place, but in the mold. A few more of these lighter green lines, like these. These greens are giving me Shrek vibes, but with our red and our lighter green coming in after this, it'll be just fine and a bit less swampy. We want a watermelon soap, not a swamp soap.
What are you doing in my swamp? What?
Let me clean this up for you guys real quick. We don't want any of that green on the side of the mold because that is going to be our watermelon portion. If ever it shows on the side, you can either bevel the side and it'll remove those little leaks that happen, or just leave it like that. It's not the end of the world either. We tend to be quite difficult on ourselves. Let me tap these down like so. Should be fine. I'm gonna clean my mess. Let me. The lighter portion of the rind will be in here. I actually do not need this. Get out of my sight. And I really want a thin line just like that should be fine. Like these, and I put just a little bit more green in here, but very, very light. And some pre-blended titanium dioxide, just a tidbit in there to bring this to a white color. We can still kind of see the watermelon orange going on in there. So I'll add a little bit more green mica to this little portion right here, just so we have more of a green vibe and less orange. Oh boy, I think that might be a lot. Oh gosh. This is not looking too shabby. I love it. Here we go. We have the perfect color for the inner part of the rind of a watermelon. It's thin, but it is emulsified, and this is going to be the perfect texture for me to pour on top of our previous layer. So how about we do that? Oh, so satisfying. I love that so much. I'll tilt it in just a second. I just want to be sure to have enough for both molds. Look at how smooth that went on. The rind is cute and all, but I definitely think that the red part is what we like most from the watermelon. So let me just scrape all of this in, and the next part is gonna be so much fun to blend. Here's the rest of my batter, to which I will add my colorant. Whoop, like so. Let me just scrape that out. There must be no waste. And my fragrance. And we have some poppy seeds to kind of mimic the seed of a watermelon. Just about like so. Start by blending it by hand to see what the color looks like, and it's absolutely darling. Just the perfect amount of whimsy. It's blended to a light to medium trace. The amount of poppy seeds is just perfect in there. And if anybody is familiar with what Spooks and Spanks makes, I have a collection called Demon Gummies, which smells like watermelon and citrus, and this is what it smells like. We're gonna go slowly with the pouring of this batter because I don't want to break the layer underneath it. Although it looks pretty solid, I just want to be sure not to overtrust myself. Look how satisfying that layer is on top of the green. Let's go ahead and texture this just a bit. It's always so satisfying to look at texture, and just want it to look even more luscious. It's definitely reminding me of a smoothie or a sorbet. A delicious watermelon treat. Just because I love texturing so much, I'm going to go ahead and texture the other side too. All right, my friends, we are done with this real watermelon soap, and I'll be back tomorrow to chop them up. Sleep tight. That didn't go quite as planned. Honestly, I have no clue what happened. It's so soft, and it feels like the fragrance, at least for the green part, separated. It looks like moss, which is great, but I would not use this on my skin. Oh, that's the reason why we try things in small batches. I might salvage the pink. It looks like forbidden guacamole. Oh, this is nasty. I think the fragrance separated. This never has happened to me. Look at this. This is sadder than what happened to Hank Schrader in Breaking Bad. Well, folks, it's not just successes in business, as in life. Things like this happen even for professional soap makers. Soap making is not for the faint of heart. Batch is by far the worst outcome you can get out of a soap bar. I said that the pink part I could maybe salvage, but as you saw when I broke it open, it started leaking out like fragrance and goo out of it, so there's no salvaging of that soap bar. So it's going into the trash, to my dismay. Yeah. It's a $240 batch that I could have used. Serves as a lesson to not use that fragrance oil in cold process soap. I find it very strange because on the website of my supplier, it does say that the fragrance performs well in soap. It doesn't accelerate or discolor. But it didn't say whether or not it rises or it separates. Maybe I'll try again with a different fragrance. Don't you love the irony of me opening up this video so confident on how I'm gonna transform my watermelon into soap, and then I get the ugliest failure I've ever had happen in my soap making career. At least I can still reward myself with a delightful bite of this refreshing watermelon. Mistakes are an inevitable part of any creative process. Whether you're making soap or even a recipe that you thought you knew by heart, or you're learning a new skill, mistakes will happen. It's very easy to feel discouraged when things don't go as planned. But it's important to remember that every failure teaches us something new. Every failure is an experience that success by itself will never be able to teach you. So embrace the mishaps as opportunities to learn and improve, and by staying persistent, you turn each step back into a stepping stone towards mastery. So, keep experimenting, keep failing, but most importantly, keep learning. That's all for today, my friends. I hope that you enjoyed me making a fool of myself and making an absolute massacre out of this watermelon. I hope that you stay spooky and that you stay sweet, and I'll see you next time. Bye!